Welcome to the Choosing Happiness podcast with me, your host, Rudrani Devi, the Happiness Lady. In these conversations, we will be discussing an uncommon way to find joy in your life with weekly special guests. Did you know you could choose your happy? Won't you come and play and discover how these magical tools could work for you? Let's do this. Well, howdy, y'all. Rudrani Devi, the Happiness Lady, here with you again for another episode of the Choosing Happiness podcast. Yes, I even wrote a book about it. Speaks 8 languages, shameless plug. Very quickly, I don't know. And if you want, you can actually also purchase it on audio and you'll have me in your ear. And how does it get any better than that? But, okay, so I am so super excited for this next conversation, y'all. I've known of this fabulous man. I don't know. I guess it was in the beginning of COVID when I saw him in boxes because we couldn't go out in the world. And he was always so profound. Well, now, profound. For me, I was like, oh, this guy's brilliant. Who is he? Well, y'all, without further ado, I want y'all to meet Charlie. Hey, Charlie. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Grateful to be here. So grateful to be with you.
Oh, my goddess, y'all. I mean, the presence that this man has makes you stop. Just like that. I'd love for y'all, if you're listening on Spotify or, the other platforms, Apple, the places, to jump on over to the YouTube so you can see what I'm talking about. I mean,
come on over.
Yeah, come on over, y'all. I mean, you can probably perceive the energy if you just lean in, because we're all aware, right? But if you really want to get the full package, y'all ought to jump over to the YouTube. That's all I got to say about that. Charlie, could you please tell the peeps a little bit about you, who you are, all the things you do, you be, the stuff?
Wow. I'm always a bit daunted by that question because, this, in my experience of this lifetime, is that there's been so many Charlies. Like I got to play with so many Charlies. And could we take a little moment for all of us to be grateful for all the beings we've been in this lifetime, like all the ways that we have been and expressed ourselves and expressed our gifts and expressed whatever it is that we had to express, our pain, our horror, our joy, whatever way we have been. It's amazing, the miracles we've been.
Oh my God. I love that. And thank you for that piece. Because I don't think you guys realize what a miracle you truly be, not just in this present moment, but in all those moments that you created prior. I know I'm a walking, talking miracle. I mean, most of you know my story, and we'll touch on it a little bit. I mean, the miracle of Charlie, so we're both, well, I'm interrupting for just a moment, Charlie. I want you to talk more about yourself, but I just want to say that we are both certified facilitators of Access Consciousness. That is not an easy task. I'm just going to say there is lots and lots and lots of prerequisites that you've got to take. And, this is because, Gary and Dane want to make sure that we know what the flip we're talking about. And it takes all of this schooling to get there. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful to those two men. But I did interrupt you, Charlie. Please tell people a little bit more about you, because now we've acknowledged the miracles we truly be in every lifetime. And what else?
So, last night, somebody asked me for an intro to myself on another podcast I'm doing next week. And I found myself saying something different than I normally say. And it was that who I am is the difference that I am. And maybe we could all start with that who you are is not your titles or your occupation or your whatever. It's the difference that you are in this world, just because you are. Whoever you are is the difference you are. And for myself, I've always known I was different from my very earliest memories. So I never fit in and never wanted to. I've never had that point of view that I should or need to or whatever. I've always been weird. I've always been different. And I've always sought out things that are weird and different.
Yeah.
So this Charlie has been a joyful adventure of the difference that I can be. And that has taken various shapes. I lived in the wilderness for a few years by myself.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
With lions and tigers and bears? My.
Yes. Yes. Oh my.
Oh, I don't like camping. I'm going to put it out there right now. I want a cabin and I want gourmet meals,
And I love that too. And yeah, I'm an ordained minister. I don't think a lot of people know that about me, but I am. I'm a PhD doctor of psychology. Um, I was a teacher of consciousness in some of the most prestigious places in the world.
Nice.
I got to play with that. And I was a performing singer-songwriter, traveled the country, like Rue.
Like me, y'all. That's right. And I'm a minister. Giddy up.
Yes. So, how much time do you have?
We got a lot in common except for that wilderness thing. I mean, I love Mother Nature. Do not get me wrong. But I can appreciate her from the comfort of my own home. And that's what I do. Right, squirrels? You're agreeing with me. That's right. And I got a woodpecker that's eating the berries off that other tree. It's been kind of crazy. We got 7 inches of snow here, y'all. Wow. What a resume you got, dude. I had no idea about you. I didn't know we was twins. Singer-songwriter. What style of music were you into? I'm just curious. Now I'm curious. Got my curiosity.
I would say the box you could put me in was called different.
Well, alrighty then. Okay, I get it.
It was right,
I don't care. I'll sing any style.
it was right next to alternative rock. Was different.
Alternative rock.
Well, I wasn't alternative rock. I was in the bin called different next to the alternative rock.
Yeah, I was in the 80s. I was in an all-girl rock and roll band as a lead singer, and it was definitely rock and roll.
Cool.
Like the songs we would cover would be, definitely rock and roll, and Rolling Stone style. And then I don't know. I took a U-turn, and I went, I'm kind of digging the 70s. What's up with that? In the late 60s, and so I'm more of a R&B funk singer now. I'm actually #1 funk artist on Reverb Nation in Nashville, y'all. True story. And my producer actually tells a joke, Charlie. He's like, "You're really into this black thing, aren't you?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Well, when you do covers, you do Prince and Aretha Franklin, and you do Patti LaBelle, and Mother's Finest." And I'm like, it's not a black thing. It's a really good music thing, dude. I know I don't sound like Aretha, but I ain't afraid to do her. Because you know why? You make me feel like a natural, a woman. Anyway.
So good. So good.
So good. Your line.
So good.
I got you.
Boop, 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 boop.
I'm about to lose my head, y'all. All right, now. It's cold here. That's why I got the hat on. Well, alrighty then. So the difference that you be, that's the invitation.
That is the invitation, right?
So many people are not willing to be that difference. Well, they don't even know they can choose different, do they?
Well, they probably have never had the invitation. Like they probably grew up not with the invitation. Like they probably grew up with saying, somebody didn't say to you, if you don't know that you're the difference you be, somebody didn't say to you, sweetie, you are totally beautifully unique.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is be that. You. And there's even nothing you have to do about that. Just be that.
Just be willing.
And, how about if every child was born into that invitation? Would that be a different world?
It makes me think of something that Dr. Dane here says. He's the co-founder of Access Consciousness, y'all. And I've heard him say it many times. It's like, let's, imagine that you're born on the planet and you're the only one there. I mean, other than, of course, nature. Then who would you be? Who would you actually be? Without the conditioning, without this reality's impalements of what's required of you to be what this reality says you should be. You know, we get conditioned by our parents, by our friends, by society to be a certain way. And what if that had nothing to do with you? And you were willing to actually be so different
You
that
know what, Ru, it is that my journey was a little different than that because I was certainly not invited into the invitation that I just expressed. And that is, just be the beauty that you be. I wasn't invited into anything. So that I grew up with what most people would call abandonment and neglect. But to me, what it was is that there was no one around to give me a point of view about me. No one ever told me that I was supposed to be this or that, or I had to live up to anything, or I was even wrong or bad about things. They never told me there was anything wrong about me, and they never told me there was anything wrong because they never said a thing.
right. My goddess, in a way that's what a creation.
What a space that
I'm
was.
just saying. I mean, I was constantly impaled. I was a child of two Italian Roman Catholic parents living in the United States that had lots of points of view about sex, and we don't even talk about it actually, and money and all kinds of things, and how I had to be the perfect child. And boy, did I try, dude. Oh
It's
my
like
God.
most of us are like dealing with some point of view that you either agreed with or you're trying to react to or resist to. But I didn't have that. It was a really interesting, different space. And I just thought, I didn't know anything about that till I was later, and I realized, oh, most people are struggling with something that they were told that they either have agreed with or that they're upset with now about, and
Mhm.
they're trying to fight against. And I've never had that. I've always had I had to make it up myself.
Huh. Huh. That makes me curious about something. Do you think that that's part of the reason why you became a minister? Because you were searching outside of what you didn't know was you because nobody was telling you how to be?
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, I was interested in anything that would bring me more consciousness, would bring me to the awareness that I was already knowing I am.
Huh.
Anything that would acknowledge that I'm not a being of this world, but that I'm a being.
Yes, we's both aliens. I can perceive what you're talking about. That's so funny. I remember you just said that. It gave me a picture of when I was a child. I had a newspaper route because I wanted to buy things, and my parents wasn't going to give me no, allowance. They's Italian, and you know what? You work for the family, so if you had to pick up sticks or weed the garden, you didn't get no quarters for that. So I had to have a paper route. And I remember one day there's this beautiful weeping willow tree, and she was calling me. And I went to lay down underneath her and look through the branches, and I saw these fairies. I can't believe I'm telling this story.
I love the story. Go on it, please.
And I went, in my head, I'm talking to them like, can y'all see me? And they were like, well, can you see us? I'm like, I do see you. And they said, but you can't tell anybody you see us because they will think you're crazy and they will tell you you're wrong. And then you will never be able to see us again. And right then I knew that there was something super different about me. I mean, I used to showboat a little bit because I could make pennies fly through the air and things like that until I found out that scared people and you shouldn't do that. And then I couldn't do it anymore. But you know what? I can still see the fairies. They really, I love that. They're so amazing too. And yeah. Anyway, I digress. I totally jumped off the platform after you said that because I guess I had to tell that little story. How many of us are so locked into this reality that we're unaware of those little subtleties all around us that want to contribute to us,
And
right?
how much of us are locked into the points of view that others have had about us that have told us who we are, so we think we are that. And
Right?
who would we be if we unlocked ourselves from all of those points of view that were given and handed to us and impelled upon us. And everything that doesn't allow us to now release that, can we destroy and uncreate it?
I'll do it. Theclearingstatement.com, y'all. Right, wrong, good, bad, online, PUD, box, shorts, boys, puppets, and beyond. Yep. Just go there. Theclearingstatement.com. We'll make sure it's underneath. It's like waving a magic wand and suddenly you're free. So good. True story. All right, then. Okay, so all those things, and then now you're a certified facilitator of access consciousness, as am I. And that's not all we be. I'm sure we're a lot of other things as well, but this is how we know each other. What brought you to Access? Because you're working for all these very profound consciousness organizations. And then now, are you still plugged in? Or did you put your eggs in the AC basket? I mean, what's going on here?
So, like I said, I was just drawn to anything that was about consciousness, whether it was in religion, spirituality, alternative healing, shamanic work, whatever it was where people were looking at what could be expansive beyond what this reality says it is. Mm-hmm. I was drawn to it. And then somebody told me about, I don't even remember who it was, Access Consciousness. I said, whatever that is. And I was always like, because I was drawn towards consciousness and whoever was talking about it, being it, manifesting it, whatever, I knew the ping when I heard it.
Right, right.
When I heard the word access consciousness, I knew I wanted more of that.
Right.
And so I immediately went to it and started jumping into everything it was about.
That's called following the energy, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Your body is so excited, it's like a dog wagging the tail. You can't deny it. You're like, oh, that's turning me on. I really should go check that out. And and it never shows up the way you think it's gonna, but you have this awareness or this knowing. I like to call it this knowing, this perception. Oh, my body want to go to that. Maybe I should go to that and see what that be about. And, and sometimes it's like this and sometimes like this, but it leads to something like this and who knows? So there you were. So when was that? Do you remember when it was?
Somewhere, I'm so bad with the past. I mean, the past goes past for me really quickly and I don't track it well. So somewhere between 6 and 10 years ago.
Okay. Yeah. It's interesting because I'm looking up at my little bars, certified facilitators, shingle, the thing that back in the day when Gary used to actually sign them. And it says November 10th, 2012. But I discovered Access in 2003 because I went to a friend, singer-songwriter's house, and he had this dude channeling. And it was Gary Douglas.
Oh, cool.
2003. And Dane was there, but I didn't even see him. Back when Dane was just Dane and not, co-facilitator of the Access Consciousness. And it's so funny because it was a chiropractor that I was doing some vitamin stuff with, and you got to come see these guys. And so I go, and I was so pulled in because he's channeling. He asked me because I also channeled at the time. Now I don't have to let something come in me. I can just talk to it, which is something I learned is much better for me personal, better for my body anyway. The one I was channeling a lot liked to smoke cigars and drink, oh God, what was that awful swill? I don't remember now. Some kind of sweet wine thing or whatever. Don't even remember. And I would be like afterwards go, peh, peh, peh. But I go and I was so fascinated. And I kind of stored it over here somewhere because, I channeled also, whatever. I thought it was cute. But I remembered the clearing statement. And they gave us this little printed out clearing statement. I had 3 pages stapled together because it was very long back then. And it worked, but I got really tired of spending 15 minutes saying this clearing statement that is now you can just say pod and pock and it's done, right? But I never forgot. And then I remembered for me, it was after being shot in India and I'd finally learned to walk again. I ran the Boston. Adidas gave me a hard luck pass because I was training for Boston at the time because some of you know I was a professional amateur athlete also. Yes, I'm showboating. I am.
So did you run Boston?
I did.
Do you know that's where I live?
Shut the front door.
I don't right at the moment live on the marathon road, but I used to live right on the marathon road.
2011?
You probably ran by my home.
2011?
Yes.
Okay, so here's the thing, y'all. I just wanted to finish. For the first time in my life, I didn't care about the time. Because you know what? My foot turned black within 7 miles because I couldn't feel it from the injuries. And they put me in a tent, and then I told the guy, I said, I have to run this thing. You don't understand. This is the last full marathon I'm ever going to run. I have to do it. And he goes, well, I could just turn this way, and you can do whatever you want. And I can just say, I don't know where she went. That's what we did. Because I was there for 20 minutes, and they were telling me, I'm sorry, you can't finish. And I'm like, you don't understand. I have to finish this marathon. But what I did, Charlie, is I slowed down. I skipped a little. I danced with people. There were this drum tribe that were doing the drums, and the guy let me, do my stuff because I'm a little bit of a percussionist. And I danced with kids, and I mean, I didn't care. It was my worst time ever, y'all. I did it in a little under 5 hours.
You did it your way.
I did it my way. I did. That's so cute. Oh my goddess. Where are you living now?
I still live in the same town, Newton, here in Massachusetts. I'm just not on the marathon road the way I used to be.
Gotcha. Was that like an annoyance, or was it a joy?
Oh no, that was a total joy. Are you kidding? I could sit in my front lawn and watch the marathoners go by.
So cool. So cool. Well, I want to get to something else, but before we go there, y'all, I got to pay the bills. So we're going to take a little moment for our sponsor, Manduu, the electrocution workout. And, it's just a little minute commercial with yours truly. But I got to tell y'all, it helped you find muscles that you didn't even know you had. So for more information, yes, I've also got in the show notes where I also had a couple of the folks from Manduu on this here podcast. So we'll be right back.
Manduu is a boutique fitness studio concept, and we are actually the first FDA cleared EMS training workout. And what we do essentially is that we will have a client come in, we will hook them up to a whole body EMS suit, and then we perform a workout on a medical grade device called an eFit device. And that device will send an electrical current to their body through electrodes in these suits that we put on them. And this electrical current is just basically stimulating the electrical current that you already have inside your body. So everybody is made up of electrical impulses. It's what helps you walk, helps you move. We're tapping into that and making it stimulate it more to where we can cause a muscle to actually contract involuntarily. So we can actually create resistance without adding a load to the body. So that is why we, as you see online, it always says ultra low impact. It is scientifically proven. It is absolutely ultra low impact.
Hey, and we're back, y'all, with my good friend, Charlie. We was going to save the world because we decided we got to, during the break, we was talking about maybe facilitating some class together or classes. I don't know. I mean, he's a joy bomb of magnitude, which makes it very interesting, this next part we're going to talk about.
Look who's calling a joy bomb of magnitude.
I'm just cray-cray, and I don't care. I know y'all think I'm crazy.
I know. I love it.
You know what? Y'all should think I'm crazy, because I am crazy. Anyway, that's what my family thinks. They're so scared of me. It's so perfect.
Well, we're all crazy, but we just don't let our crazy out because we were told that if we let our crazy out, that's bad.
Crazy. Crazy for feeling so crazy. Anyway, just change the words. Charlie.
Yes.
Honey. So we're on this certified facilitator's WhatsApp feed. And my friend Charlie posts this really, and here's the thing. I have it on silent because it was getting to the point where it was constantly pulling me for my life. So I jump in like 2 or 3 times in a day just to see where we are. And if something pings me, And so there I go, bam, I just had this feeling. What a feeling. And then I clicked on it, and like literally your post gets posted seconds after I get there. And I immediately read it. And I heart it, And I hearted it. And then I sat with it because I had an awareness about what you had said, that I'd been asking a question about, and you put the question out, not necessarily for the answer. You want to get an awareness of what it's about. And I just hadn't gotten awareness. I mean, something had happened to me in 2019, and it was called RSV, although they didn't know that's what it was at the time. I was supposed to go to CF training, and I went to get a massage, and she said, your chest is gurgling. You should probably go, to a clinic and see what that's about. And I had noticed, because I was a boxer, of course, and I had gone to my class that morning, and I didn't have the energy I normally have. I have something called hyperkinetic movement disorder, and it's akin to Parkinson's. I don't have Parkinson's, and hyperkinetic movement disorder is something you can treat, and you treat it with mind-body things. And so it was suggested to me that I should do some boxing. So it was helping me a lot, especially with the ADD and the autism and all the stuff. It was helping, keeping me grounded and centered. At least, I was getting results. And then all of a sudden, I didn't have the energy. And I go get the massage, and she sends me, and they do a chest x-ray. And they said, your oxygen values are only 81. If they drop below 80, you're going to have to go to the ICU. And they asked me, do you vape? Do you da-da-da? And I thought, why is my body doing this? Why is it shutting down? And so I've been asking since September of 2019. This is before COVID, before they even knew what that was. What is this? What can I do with it? Can I change it? How can I change it? What is going on here? What am I not aware of that if I was aware of it would change this immediately? And then I read Charlie's post. And this is where I'm going to stop talking, because I really want, in your words, what drove you to be so vulnerable and to share this piece, and what was it about? My friend.
So let's go back to the wilderness for a second.
Okay.
So because I didn't grow up with points of view, I've always been attracted to space. And I find this world very filled up with people's points of view. And so I chose to actually live in the wilderness because I love to be by myself and to be with beings that don't talk in this language.
Yeah.
And I spent a few years there. And my life has always been one that's gone through the polarity of introversion and extroversion. And there's always been that tug in me about how much I want to be in the world and how much I want to be out in the world. And when I started, I became a psychologist and I became a teacher at these places and so forth, people were asking me to do things like go on television and write books and so forth and so on. And I just was doing this. I'm like, no, that's not me. I don't want to do that. And then in Access Consciousness, I started looking at that. I started looking at that particular resistance I was having to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I started undoing all the ways I had created a resistance and reaction, and not a state of allowance, a state of space was maybe it would be fun for me to be a bigger voice in the world. At that point, I asked for that energy to be a bigger space in this world and to be able to contribute greater to this world's consciousness and to the evolution of consciousness on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And right after that, immediately after that request, because it never shows up the way you think it's gonna,
right.
Two things happened. One is I started getting judged by everybody in my life. And the second is I got sick. And in that, when I started asking questions rather than conclusions like people don't like me, about the judgment, or conclusions about the sick is that I'm just getting old, rather than those conclusions, when I started asking for what is the awareness that all of this is bringing me, I started realizing that all of it was assisting me to look at what it would be like to have a greater voice in the world. I'd have to deal with more judgment, and I'd have to really deal with being out there, which my body I'd been telling my body for a long time, no, we don't like the world. So it was then responding to what I've been telling it to, and it shut down, and it produced a disease,
Wow.
which was taking me out of my ask to be more in this world and a greater voice in the world, and getting me out of here quick.
Huh.
Because this was a disease that was going to take me out quick.
Right.
And when I looked at it, I had a real choice. Like, oh, I get to choose. Because here's the moment of awareness. I had been asking to be greater in the world, and I'd also been asking to hide from the world.
Right.
And so
incongruent realities, y'all. This is what we're talking about. Your body loves you so much that it will actually do what it thinks you would like to create.
Exactly. And so I had to look at that choice as a real open choice, because, hey, I've had a great life here. Have been able to do some great things, great fun. Maybe it is time to go.
Huh.
And at first I was more slanted towards that.
Wow.
Because I thought maybe I had done what I came to do, until some friends had asked me. I said, I don't actually know what I want to do out in that world. And they said, what if what you really wanted to do in the world is just be you? Like live and be you.
Light bulb moment.
What?
I know, right?
Just live to be me? Well, and it's supposed to like have some purpose or something. Yeah, what if the purpose is just being you?
Yeah.
And what if that is an invitation to everybody to just be themselves and enjoy that as their primary purpose? And when I got the energy of that, everything turned around, and I started using all the access tools to uncreate everything that I created that was taking me out, and that my body was taking me out kindly for me.
How did it show up in your body? What was your body choosing as far as taking you out?
Perfectly. Perfectly. It was showing up as prostate cancer.
Oh, giddy up.
Where all your potency is held, right? Where's your potency for a man? Right in that area,
That's
right?
what my dad died of.
So if I was going to ask to be more potent in this world, what would take me out? You have no potency.
Right.
We're going to kill you for asking for being more potent in the world.
How dare you, Charlie?
How dare you be more potent in the world?
My father died of prostate cancer. He had it 3 times before he finally succumbed. It was very interesting because I'm the one that chose to be with him during midnight mass because you couldn't leave him alone. So my whole family goes to midnight mass, and I'm sitting there with him. He's been very unresponsive. I'm getting a lot of shit for giving him, God, I forgot what the drug was that takes you out of pain. I was doing the droppers in his mouth and all the stuff. And he had this surreal moment where he sat up and he grabbed a hold of the side of the bed railing and he looked at me and he said, God is very upset with me. If you don't pray for me, I'm going to be stuck in purgatory for the rest of my life.
Mm.
Yeah. If y'all read my books, you know that my father was very abusive and beat the crap out of us kids, which is why I ran away from home so much and finally went to college at 16. Sorry, Celeste. That's my mama. I had to do a deal and deliver with a guidance counselor, and that's okay because I was a genius, and so I got a full scholarship, and I got to leave at 16. All right. And here's this man sitting up, looking me square in the eye, getting this moment of awareness that God was upset for him beating his children's. At least that's what I got from it. You know? And so, prostate cancer. He was very angry. That man was angry all the time. He had a very abusive mother, so I get where he got it from. But it's interesting. So, how did you get over to prostate cancer? What magically happened?
Well, first of all, it's our choices create our reality, right?
Hello.
I realize
Choices. Hey, choices create your reality. Charlie, that's a meme. Mic drop moment. Choices.
I
You're
know.
responsible for your reality because you made the choices that got you what you made up
And at
in your
that
lifetime.
moment, I made a choice. I made a very clear choice. I want to live longer. I want to be here.
Okay.
And I want to be all of me and enjoying that. And in that choice, I really asked for a miracle. I asked for a miracle to have everything that I had created that was the choice for my body to take me out, to dissolve. And I asked for the miracle of vibrancy, vitality, and potency to come into my body and being. And however that would show up, I would follow it. And then I started using the tools. I started using pod and pocking everything I had created, all the points of view that were holding the prostate cancer in place.
Right.
I started just doing it and sure enough, what happened was I went for an MRI and they couldn't find the prostate. They couldn't find it anymore.
It's weird too, because even my doctor was like, what did you do? It took me 4 months for me. And it's a book that I have started. I've got 2 books I'm working on right now, but I got to finish the fourth one first before I can do 5 and 6. So the book that I'm working on is, it's called PTSD in Me. And what had happened is when I got really sick and I talked to Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, y'all. And I was like, I don't know what to do here. I'm sick of having allergies. I'm sick of it. And he told me to get a good homeopathist and, to take some swill that I drank for a while. It was awful. And bee pollen. Those were his recommendations. Local bee pollen. And so I found a homeopathist that connected me with a neurochiropractor and also got connected to a physical therapist. In between these 3 holistic therapists, it took me 4 months and it was hell to get through what my body was going through. But what had happened was I had to get myself off of all of the stuff that they were trying to impale upon my body that was keeping me stuck. And then it gave my body permission to actually have the PTSD from my childhood. Because Charlie, here's the cool part. I didn't have any nightmares about India at all, about the terrorist attack. I had the tools already, but I had never dealt with my childhood and everything that had happened there, which was kind of ridiculously amazing. So I would have these flashbacks of abuse from boyfriends and from my father and all this stuff. And I couldn't work. I couldn't walk. I was, I had vertigo, all this stuff. And then I was like, okay, body, what the fuck is going on here? And until I saw what you wrote in the feed, I didn't realize that my body, after going through what it had been through during all that time, could perceive what was coming with COVID and didn't want to be here. Didn't want, because my body's brilliant. Brilliant, but I love you so much. My body's so fucking brilliant, y'all. It knew it was coming.
Because what you're saying is so brilliant and beautiful. And that is, to all the listeners out there, whatever is going on for you physically, you can always ask your body what it's aware of.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't get any information on that, you can ask again, because your body may not be used to you talking to it. And certainly not talking to it with curiosity.
I know, we're always impaling it with our points of view instead of actually asking the body, hey, what do you know?
What are you aware of?
Right.
And let it tell you on its terms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love that you said that, on its terms. How many times do we just drag this body along for the ride and we don't honor it? I mean, it's willing to house all this stuff, right? I'm just, an infinite being pretending to be Rudrani Devi. So why don't I actually speak to that piece of me and say, hey, what is it you know? Because I'm obviously not doing so well on my own here.
And we often don't think that our bodies are infinite beings too. We think
Yeah.
they're these little things that are just, doing the best they can to get along in this world and so
Right.
forth. And they're not. They're these beings that are conscious, the way everything else is conscious, the way trees are conscious, and the way the clouds are conscious, and the way everything is conscious. That beings are conscious, and that we can actually ask them what they're conscious about.
Yeah.
What do they know? What are they aware of?
I love it. Wow. This has been an amazing, amazing conversation. Thank you so very much. Thank you so much for being willing to be vulnerable and help me get to a place where I can understand better what I created, And so Charlie, this is called the Choosing Happiness podcast. I'm sorry. For those of you that are not on YouTube, I just did a dramatic effect movement. Had us both chuckling. I almost peed my pants. Anyway. My peeps have got to know, Minister Charlie, how do you get your happy on?
Yeah. I twist that around for a moment. All of us already are happy. That's who you are.
That's the true nature, right?
That's nature.
Yeah.
And so the real question is that I ask myself is, am I willing to be happy? And how happy am I willing to be?
Ooh, willing to be.
Willing to be.
Because it does start there, doesn't it?
It does start, because you know what? You got to do a lot to fight against it.
Yeah.
It just wants to be. And are you willing to be the happy you truly be?
Mm. So y'all don't try that.
No, that would be bad.
It's funny because Axis is always using this negative whatever to hey, if you want to get somebody to do something, tell them they can't do it. And I'm like, I actually, I don't know if I agree with that or not. And that's the thing. I've always been that half glass full person. I literally had somebody come up to me in a restaurant to tell me to rein it back because I was laughing so hard. And they said, that isn't real. You're just, either blah, 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 or you're crazy. And I said, that's right, I'm crazy.
Can I tell you a very quick story?
Yeah.
Very quick story. So in the 6th grade, I was laughing so hard in class, like you have these laughing moments where you can't stop. And I was falling and I was creating everybody else to laugh and so forth. And the teacher was like screaming at me to stop laughing and had lost control of the class. And she came down and she grabbed me by my ear and pulled me up in front of the class and took the pointer and started hitting me over the head, which was only getting me to laugh more. And she said, students, this is Mr. Verge. And Mr. Verge will never become anything in this world because he doesn't take things seriously.
And you said, thank you very much, bitch. You're right. And then you turn out to be so much more than that.
They can try to beat the happy out of you.
Yeah.
But they can't, because the happy is who you are and it can't be beaten out of you.
True story. I mean, that reminds me, I was dating, God bless America. I was dating a very famous person's brother who was the road manager. I'm not going to mention names, but one of the top 5 artists on the planet, I guess, who I never got to tell that I could sing because the guy I was dating did not want them to know so that they wouldn't actually help me further my career or whatever. I don't know. So weird people. So every time we would sing around a campfire, I would not sing because I just remember we would go all the time to one of those places where they chop up the food on a Kobe grill and they throw it at you and stuff. And at the time, I think, I was vegetarian at the time. I had points of view about that. And so they had to cook it on a different thing. And I remember laughing at something so hard that the guy that I was dating squeezed my leg to get me to stop laughing because they didn't want to bring attention to our table because of his famous relative, brother that was at the table. And they had put us in a back room and I'm laughing so loud and he squeezed so hard that there was a bruise the next day. And I showed it to him, and instead of saying, "I'm sorry, honey," it was like, "Well, that's what you get." So,
Yeah. So just everybody who's listening to this call, the happy that you be might not be laughing like that. It might be whatever it is that is the happy for you. It may not be the happy that I was in the 6th grade or the happy that Rue was in that. So, but whatever the happy you be, would you be willing to be more and more of that every day from this point on, and not let anybody stop you from being you?
yeah, because you know what, you guys? Your laughter is all this planet requires. True story.
True story.
Whew. Lord, this has been amazing. I feel like I've just been to church. Thank you so much, Charlie. Mr. Verge.
I adore you, my friend.
Mr. Verge is never going to. Thank you, Mr. Verge, for who you be and the invitation you be. I am super delighted that we could have this conversation. You might have to be a repeat offender. I don't know. I might have to have you back.
Love to.
Awesome. Awesomeness. Hey, if you enjoyed this conversation, please hit the subscribe button below. We'll have all the links so you can find Mr. Verge, if you want to know more about him. And, of course, the clearing statement, because we done dropped it on you. We do that occasionally. We're so bad. Hey, and if you know anybody that could actually benefit from this conversation, where it could be a contribution, would you please share it with them? And I'm that weirdo that actually reads every comment. So if you have something to say, please share that with me. And thank you so much for listening in now or in the future. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. Until next time, y'all. Ciao, ciao for now. Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you so much for choosing happiness. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe, share, and give us a like. And if you want more happy, subscribe to the Choosing Happiness membership, where you can play directly with me, Rudrani Devi, the Happiness Lady. How does it get any better than that?